Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. We're just gonna start off right away and say good morning so much. Good morning. I I want to start off the day by saying thank you so much for tuning in, for watching these fun recap videos from the last maybe 8 weeks. I realized yesterday when I was sitting down to write that it had been 8 weeks since I'd start recording these kind of like recaps or reactions to everything, and I they've helped me so much in regards to like me getting past and pushing through one of the hardest struggles that I've had throughout my creative life. And this is just like a personal thing of me and how I experience creativity, and you know, and that's my writing. And I've spoke about it in damn near every episode that I've done, my writing, and how it's been a big goal for me to achieve my first feature film script. And even when I say that, I think about how much it means to me, really. And I think it's more about getting it done and even just accomplishing it, not worrying about how I'm going to make it, but just knowing that I made and wrote a script for a movie. I've allowed myself to fight through those things of, is it good enough, or is it going to be good, or is it going to be fun to, like, how are people going to think about the script? I've pushed through those doubts that creep into my head so many times, and it's like it's really a daily battle that happens, because you're in your first draft. I think it's because I'm in my first draft, and I know the thing that has helped me get through it is by saying, just get the first draft done. The first draft is not going to be good. Like, it's just not going to be good. And I smile when I say that, because that's what's exciting. It's more about structuring it and just laying out the skeleton of your idea so that you can go back and revise it. And the revising is where it's really fun. And you start to hone in with story structure a little bit better and seeing like what you're leaving out and missing. And so I start this video prefacing that was my goal. And I also was going through, and I am going through, the life transition, like I said 8 weeks ago in previous videos, where I'm trying to push myself to be that person, that identity that I want to be, versus the things that I've already done in my life, which is like, music videos. And I don't want to sound ungrateful when I say that I'm I don't ever want to sound grateful when I say that I want to do more than music videos, because music videos are their own creative art, and they've helped me so much to experiment. And I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I've ever had or been asked to do with creating music videos, with whether I was directing, whether I was producing, whether I was just an editor, or whether I was a DP. All those opportunities for me to work in the last 12 years, no matter who the artist was, has been a reinforcement of my talent. It's been a reinforcement of my confidence and my passion for creating. And it's been the reason why I want to write even more, because I know that I'm limiting myself in regards to the possibilities of what I'm capable of, because I know that I can do it. So turning to books, turning to reading, turning to praying, turning to God has been something that has helped me achieve the writing phase and take that step and be bold and think about what I really want. Through that, I've learned so much by doing these readings, and I've learned so much by having these reflection talks. And I just got done with chapter 14, how to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. And he speaks about his writing and what he did to get his writing done. And he said during the year where he was writing this book, he experimented with a new time management strategy. Every Monday, his assistant would reset his passwords of all his social media accounts, which logged me out on each device. All week, I worked without distraction. On Friday, she would send me the new passwords. I had the entire weekend to then enjoy social media. And then by Monday morning, she would reset them again. And he says, like, hey, if you don't have like an assistant, then use like your, family or friend to help you with that. And then another example that he had given was the person that wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I don't know how accurate this story is. I'm hoping, I would assume that this is like the actual story. But he says Victor Hugo was facing an impossible deadline. He said 12 months earlier, the French author had promised his publisher a new book, but instead of writing, he spent the year pursuing other projects, entertaining guests, and delaying his work. Frustrated, Hugo's publisher responded by setting a deadline less than 6 months away. The book had to be finished by February 1831. And so because of this, he collected all his garments, and he had his assistant lock them away in a large chest, and he was left with nothing to wear except a large shawl. Lacking any suitable clothing to go outdoors, he remained in his study and wrote furiously during the fall and winter of 1830. The Hunchback of Notre Dame was published 2 weeks early on January 14th, 1831. And I look at both of those examples of an artist or a writer locking themselves away to finish something, and it reminds me about the first time that I started to write this short film of my script. I went away last August out in the middle of the country with my friend James Millsap, and we sat there we were supposed to be there for a week, and we sat there for 3 days. And within those days, I was already like, I want to go somewhere else because I want to be kind of by water. And I love my cousins for help letting me do that. Rhonda, she and her husband allowed me to go out to their, and I have that video on YouTube, but I went out to the middle of nowhere, and then I was like feeling the need to go to like a Airbnb lake house in the middle of nowhere. I was just like, I want to be by water, and I locked myself away with him, and I journaled a lot of that. I didn't put all of it out, but I talked about the process of me doing that, and that 1 week helped me develop the script in a way that I hadn't before. And when I returned home, I was mad because I had, the Airbnb was costly, so I was like, I can't do that for another whole week, but I'm not done with my script. I want to be done with my short film. I thought I could maybe get it done in that week. And so then I returned out to my cousin's property by myself this time for another week, and I had planned for a week, and then I think by like 3 days into it, I felt guilty for being away from my wife and my child. So I pushed myself really hard to finish like a first draft of my short film, and then I came home. So I felt confident enough that I established enough of this script to where, okay, I'm going to finish this at home because I need to help my wife take care of our daughter. And so I came back. I tell that story, and I tell these other two stories because I'm in that similar position right now with my script where Yesterday on social media, I shared that I had finally reached to like 90 pages in my feature, and but I don't feel like I'm done yet. I feel like I have probably 30 to 50 pages left, is what I said. I think the total draft will probably, the first draft, I think will, I feel as if it's going to be about 120 to 150 pages. Probably 150 because I have, I think I've developed too many scenes that I think are fun, but maybe they're not necessary for the film, which is fine. I think that's why I use the first draft. But I said I can't keep. I gotta keep pushing forward. I gotta push myself harder by reading this book, by understanding what I want to get done this year. I was like, I gotta get this done this month. I gotta get the first draft this month. Like I have to get it done this month. And so I set 2 weeks from now. I set a deadline for the first draft, and I was like, okay, that means I have to write about 4 pages a day. And this was on Friday when I figured that out. And so far, I've only been able to do about 2 to 2.5 pages a day over the weekend. And I was like, oh man, I gotta do more pages, man. And I realized something that was happening, which he talks about this in the book. And I'll share these things because I haven't given a review on chapters 12, 13, or 14. And I read them all this weekend, but I didn't do the recordings because I had family, and I had my daughter's birthday, and I want to spend time with my family this weekend. So I told myself I wouldn't record any of these videos and go live because they are not a lot, and they're not really time consuming, but they are enough distraction that they're not necessary, you know. But he talks about this 2-minute rule. And this was from chapters 13, How to Stop Procrastinating by Using the 2-minute rule. And he says, the most effective way I know to counter this tendency is to use I'll start this back. So he says there's a 2-minute rule. It says, even when you know you should start small, it's easy to start big. When you dream about making a change, excitement inevitably takes over and you end up trying to do too much too soon. He says the most effective way I know to counter this tendency is to use the 2-minute rule, which states when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes. So he gives some examples. Read before bed each night becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Study for class becomes open my notes. Fold the laundry becomes fold 1 pair of socks. Run 3 miles becomes tie my shoes. He says the actions that follow can be challenging. He said a new habit should not feel like a challenge. The actions that follow can be challenging, but the first 2 minutes should be easy. What you want is a gateway habit that naturally leads you down a more productive path. So he shows us this chart in here, and he says to make a chart of your tasks. So the very hard thing about your new habit should be the thing you want to do. So, for example, run a marathon, write a book, earn a PhD. So that's the very hard thing. And he says to begin that habit, you need to make the first thing the 2-minute rule. So it should be the easiest thing. So run a marathon should start with putting on your running shoes. Writing a book should be writing 1 sentence. Earning a PhD should be open your notes. And then as you develop that habit, you take a step forward and make it a little harder. Run a marathon is walk 10 minutes. Now it's a little harder. Let's make it harder. You've gotten used to walking 10 minutes. Walk 10,000 steps. Okay, you got used to walking 10,000 steps a day, which is actually difficult. Now it's run a 5K. Now, once you've achieved the habit of running a 5K, you should run a marathon. Writing a book, it's the same thing. When we start very easy with writing 1 sentence, you should make it a little harder. Write 1 paragraph. Increase that, and now you're used to writing 1 paragraph. Write 1,000 words. Now make it harder. Write a 5,000 word article. I think when I started this habit of just making reviews on books this is something that I'm going to continue to do throughout the whole year. I know that this is not only helping myself develop the habit of communicating on social media and creating the content that I ultimately really want to make. And I did it on accident. I made it really easy for myself by just like reviewing books. You know, I wasn't really sure. I've always it's like coming back to like I always wanted to give back to the filmmaking community in some form or fashion by creating content that expresses my journey and also expresses like the knowledge that I have from the things that I've learned and experiences that I had, and giving back to people in a positive way. And so when I started doing these reviews, it felt so natural to speak about these things because I do enjoy connecting with people on this level. There is already tons of information on the internet that talk about like how to learn the camera. They talk about gear. There's a lot of stuff already that exists that talk about the technical sides of filmmaking. And there's things that exist that talk about the theory side of filmmaking. And the thing that I connect with the most about this type of content is this is the stuff that actually is the scariest thing about your filmmaking journey, or any real entrepreneur journey, is the unknowing, the doubt, the frustrations, the failures, and talking through that with people, you know, understanding that it's kind of like a never-ending process that happens to you all the time. And the more you work on yourself, the more that you continue to forgive yourself, the more that you become easier on yourself. Although I don't want you to think becoming easy on yourself means like don't try hard. You have to work really hard, yes, but your progress and the 1% gains that you should be stretching towards on a daily basis, the 1% gain is something that I learned from this book. But I always identified I should do something towards my goal every day or I'm not going to get it. Those 1% gains that we do daily create those habits that make you so obsessed with your goals and makes you so passionate about achieving the thing that you want that you just keep going, and you're always questioning like when am I going to get there? When is it going to be that I achieve whatever I'm searching for? And something that you learn as you get older is that it's kind of it's a never-ending journey of life, self-discovery, and that is that self-discovery and that journey is the thing that you should be happy for. It's not achieving the goal, although the goal will make you feel good that you worked hard to get it, and it will feel refreshing to get it. You kind of, once you achieve a goal, sometimes you don't even like sometimes you could look past it and you could say, oh well, what now, what next? Not really sure. I'm kind of lost now. The goal was my identity for a long time, and now that I have it, where do I go now? And so you start to kind of search over again. You want something new to go search for. And I learned a few lessons, not only from this book, but this book reiterates it, about that idea of, I learned from this book to create a system to achieve the goal, and then that system will should continue past the goal. That system should become a habit then, and it will allow you to achieve more things in your life, and it will allow you to become the person you want to be and identify with, and not just achieve a goal. Because again, the goal is not going to make you happy. It's always going to be what's going on and what's rattling in your head. So books like this, when it comes to habit forming, and Rick Rubin's the Creative Act, A Way of Being. These two books, even though these are the most recent books I've read, and I picked up the habit of reading again because of a goal that I'm trying to achieve. These two books, because I'm sharing them with you, I always come back to like rediscovering that I need to continue to keep reading even after I achieve whatever goal I've got, because of how much it helps me with my life. Back in 2016, 17, when I was really trying to just figure it out in LA, I picked up reading, and I would read every day, and I would pray every day, and I would meditate every day, and I would form these really great habits along my journey. And then as soon as I found success with the baby and Real Goats, then I left behind some of the habits that I thought were making me a better person, making me having a greater mind, and keeping me a level with my thoughts, level with my search in life, and and I realized I should have never gave that up. I think it was like 2019 was the last time I was really, really reading. And then over the next 4 or 5 years, and it's now 2024, so about 5 years, I wasn't continuing that habit. And there's so many books that I could have been reading about business, so many books I could have been reading about how to grow as a person, to take control of the opportunities that were coming my way, and not reflecting on the past and beating myself too much up about it. But that's a lesson that I learned from, as I reflect on it now. Like, hey, continue to push yourself, continue to read, continue to enlighten yourself, continue to grow yourself mentally through books, through prayer, and be that person that you worked so hard to become before, and continue to do so, and then share those with others so that they can do the same. And it is very easy to give up or slide back to a bad habit of not reading or a bad habit of not praying, because we get busy and we just don't think about it, or our life's going well and we're not thinking about it. But that's probably when we should be reading and praying more, when our life is going well, versus when our life is at the forks or at the turning points. Although praying and reading and self-discovering at the forks in the road is really what you should be doing anyways. But I think if your habit is already formed, it's more likely that you can overcome or decide which way to go in the fork of the road a little sooner. So before I let you guys go, I want to say that my thoughts on the reason why I shared these good and bad habits stories, and the reason I shared some of those thoughts was like, I gotta find a way this next 2 weeks, and this is what I thought this morning. I want to find a way to push myself to write faster. And I think it's probably going to be limiting my social media to where, just like this book, habit stacking and temptation bundling, I would, I would do something. I would do a habit, and then I would do the thing I need to do, and then I would reward myself with social media. But I realized I need to probably limit it all the way down out during the week, and only post at certain times, and not have my phone and delete my apps, so that I can really focus, because I have a lot to do this week. So I'll probably post very minimal. Maybe I'll probably post today, and then I don't think I will post again until the end of the week. So this is the video for Monday, and then I'll post again Friday afternoon when I'm done with everything. Or actually, you know what? I probably won't post until Saturday morning. I'll make one Saturday morning at the farmer's. I'm not sure where I'll make it, but I'll make it Saturday morning to kind of tell you how my week went and talk about these chapters. I'm going to continue to read every morning, because that's something that I'm going to do. So I'm going to continue to read this book. So for you guys following along, shout out Randall. He's one of the many that was following. I want to say thank you so much for watching these Atomic Habits reviews, and I do owe you guys a video about some of this chapter specifically, so that we could talk about this, because this is kind of like more of an update of where I'm at personally, and I'm excited. I'm sharing my thoughts more because I'm excited to get to that spot, and I enjoy what I have been creating here on social media with YouTube, creating these kind of vlogs. And then I'm also happy that I'm able to share those things with you guys, and you guys take them and follow your own paths. I wanted to, before I go, remind you to really sit down with these thoughts that he's giving us in this book, because right now I've got to page 185. Chapter 15 is my chapter tomorrow, and so let's see here. By the end of the week, I should be done. I actually will be done with it. So 15, 16, 17, 18, that's 4, that's 5. Yeah, I think by Saturday I'll be done with the book. So I want to say the most beautiful thing that I learned about with this book so far is the identity, understanding what you want your identity to be and claim that. The habit scorecard, knowing what your habits are. Habit stacking, temptation bundling, making my bad habits invisible, making them difficult, pointing and calling. When I see that I'm about to do something, I'm calling it out, and is that an action that my identity would do? All those things have helped me get over and work through removing bad habits, and work through developing my good habits. And I want to say, we don't read these books just to read them and just to like say we read a book. We read them because we want to implement something and grow We want to invite better energy into ourselves. We want to invite better thoughts into ourselves. And I have to say, out of there's only the only other book that has really resonated with me right away was The Power of Now. That book helped me become self-aware, and I never knew what that word was. I never knew what self-awareness was until Power of Now, or being present, or the idea of being present. That changed me so much into following my dreams back in 2015, 16. And then this book is Atomic Habits and The Creative Act are two. The Atomic Habits is by far helping me more than Rick Rubin's book. Although Rick Rubin's book has helped me listen to my creative side and trust it and believe in it. So it was almost like a perfect combination of believing in myself creatively, and then The Atomic Habits is a book that helps me create a great habit to explore my creativity. So with both, they have changed me so much in regards to what I'm working towards. And I'm excited to continue to work on remembering the things that they're teaching so that I can continue to develop the next stage of my life. So, again, it's 1% growth every day. So it compounds over time. Making the unconscious conscious. Understanding what we do so that we can either help our journey or it's going to hurt our journey. We don't want our bad habits to direct our lives and then for us to call it fate. I love that. I love that quote back when I read it. So, thank you so much for everybody watching. Thank you again for all your support. I'll be back on Saturday, so be patient. I've recorded all of this, so I might make an audio version of this and share some of my photos that I've been taking for you guys. But regardless, thank you so much again for all your support, all your love. I'm excited. I would love to develop more relationship with you guys when it comes to commenting. If you guys watch this and I would love to hear how you're using his rules or what some of your favorite rules are and how this book has been helping you. So please, again, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Bye.